Maseches Shabbos, Shin Kaf Ches Amud Beis, new Mishnah. Even if you haven't seen a shiur until now, here's your chance. We're going to learn about not exactly physically how to deliver a baby on Shabbos. That's not our job, but the halachic side of delivering babies on Shabbos, either a human baby or an animal baby. So yeah, let's go, baby. Dog Daily Mishnah. This year is Little Nishmas, my father, Rabbi Nachman ben Akiva, and for the refuah of the granddaughter of our dear friend who's with us in Zoom, and that is for the refuah of Michal Yafa Bas Shena. Should be healthy, should be well very, very soon. Bezos Hashem, and for the quick release of all the hostages right now. Zog Delige Mishnah. En mialdin es abema b'yom tov. A person is not allowed to deliver a behem on Yom Tov. Why? Now, Yom Tov means Kol Shekin Shabbos. Not only on Yom Tov you can't deliver and take the animal out of the womb of its mother on Yom Tov. Even on Yom Tov, where there is what something to do with the animal to eat it on Yom Tov. Even then, you can't be meyalad the behem. Why? Says Rashi, you can't be meyalad, you can't deliver the baby because it's considered as tircha. Tircha is it's too much tircha. And obviously, the question is, what do you mean tircha? There is an Isser the Oraisa, right? Because there is an Isser of Goizes. Taisis of Adazor Daf Chaf Vav Amud Beis, and also by us Kuf Zayin Amud Beis. We see that delivering a baby, you're disconnecting it from a place of growth. Could be Goizes or Koitzer, you're taking it from its place where it grows. So one pshat, by the way, the Ritva has a second pshat in the Rashba. The Ritva says there is an Isser de Oraisa, yes, over here, and that is makev patish. You make it be. You give the final. It's going inside the womb, and then boom, the final shot is when it's on. Ritva says makev patish.
Right.
Yeah, the oraisa. No, many Rishonim say it's the oraisa. What's pshat in Rashi that says it's the rabbanon only because of tircha? So I said yesterday, and I stand by what I'm saying. And I saw again the Tosfos in the of the Daf Chafvov, and he says the question is he doesn't talk about here, but that's why we understand it. We can apply what Tosfos says. If the animal started already to disconnect from the mother, it's still located in the womb or somewhere there, but the actual detachment already happened, and all you need to do is continue the birth process. You're not disconnecting. You already got the initial disconnection already happened. What you're doing is pulling it out, and that's only so the rabbanon of tirch.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's either the Raisa when you started off or the Rabbanon. Now, Aval, Misadin. Misadin, we're going to see in the Gemara what does Misadin mean. On Yom Tov, you're allowed to be Misaed, which means you're allowed to help the animal after the birth or even during the birth, but to be more indirect way, you're allowed to do the actions after the birth, according to one opinion, lisa'od, to help, sad. That you're allowed to do even on Yom Tov, but not on Shabbos, by the way. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to, because on Shabbos, there's no reason for that, right? On Yom Tov, it's because you need the animal to eat it, yeah? Or at least it's not muktzah, and tircha is not as bad. Yom Tov in general is more kal than Shabbos. Umiyaldin is Isha b'Shabbos. Mazel tov. A woman needs to give birth on Shabbos. The baby is about to come out. You're allowed to deliver the baby on Shabbos, even the oraisa, as we'll see later. That's pikuach nefesh. So you're allowed to do the goises. You're allowed to do whatever you need. V'koren lachachom mimokom l'mokoim, and you call the midwife. Chachom is the midwife to come from place to place, even though there's an issue of tchumin. Tchumin, by the way, according to Rabbi Kiva's Doraisa, most people hold it's not, but it's an issue. Mechalel Shabbos, and besides that, Mechalel Shabbos. The Gemara is going to ask, what do you mean? We just said Mechalel Shabbos. What are you coming to add over here? Continues the mission of a kosher and a satibu. In other words, the umbilical cord, yeah, you have to tie it because otherwise the baby's stomach, the innards may fall. Yeah, so you have to tie the umbilical cord, even though it's kshira. You are allowed to do it because of the koch nefesh. Rabbi Yossi Omer af choitchin. Rabbi Yossi says not only to tie it, you're also allowed to cut it. Why? I think I saw a few Rishonim here. I think the Meir is the one who says you're allowed to cut the umbilical cord because otherwise people may pull it. It's also sakona. It's safer, yeah, when it's not there. The whole thing, just he has a whole cord over there. because the mother may pull it by mistake, which is sakona. The kol tzorkei mila is in the Shabbos. All the needs of bris milah, even preparations that are isur deoraisa, one is allowed to do for the bris milah. And by the way, these words actually are preparing us for the next perek, which is a Bezel de Milah, all about Milah. The Seder, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shel kol milah. Perek the Gemara Ketzad Misadin. When we said you're not allowed to deliver the baby, but you're allowed to, not the initial delivery, but you're allowed to help it afterwards, what does it mean? Rav Yehuda Omer, "Ochez es havlad shelo yipol le'oretz." Once the baby, the newborn, is out of the womb, you hold him so it shouldn't fall into the ground. Okay. Rav Nachman Omar, "Doichik baboso k'dish yitzeh vlad." Rav Nachman says, furthermore, not only you can hold the vlad, you can even before the birth is over, you're allowed to help the birth by pushing inside, pushing from the outside. You're allowed to push the b'sar behema of the rechem, the flesh of the behema where the rechem is, the womb. You're allowed to push there from the outside to help the baby come out, which means to put in your hand inside the behemoth's stomach. That's too much of a tircha. Then you're not allowed to do that. That's meyaldin, to mamish put in your hand, like the midwives do. But from the outside, you're allowed to offer some outside help by pushing from the outside, like shoving into from the outside of the stomach. Sometimes people need to toilet or something, like a push or whatever delivery. So that's allowed. Even that, according to Nachman, that's allowed. I assume, according to Rav Yehuda, you can't because that's more similar to birth. I think kach nirli. Rav Nachman allows you even to push even though the baby's not out yet, you're allowed to push to help it come out. Tana kavod Rav Yehuda. Here, Brisa to support Rav Yehuda's opinion, and the Brisa gets much more elaborate. Says the Brisa, Ketzad Misadin, how are you allowed to misayed to help the animal baby's birth? Oh, that's the Rav Yehuda. Yeah, Rav Yehuda said you hold the vlad, the baby, so it shouldn't fall into the ground. You're allowed to basically blow air into his nostrils, to the nose, because he doesn't know how to breathe at the beginning as well. You're allowed also to put the udder into the mouth of the baby so it should start sucking, should start eating. All this is allowed. So what Rav Yehuda said is just part of the story. But all that is only after the birth, not during the birth. You're allowed to assist the baby animal with whatever it needs to should start functioning, breathing well, eating well. All that you're allowed to do on Yom Tov.
What's the Chanishka? These are muksa? What is it called?
No, it's not tircha.
Oh, I think we tircha.
I hear what you're saying about muktzah too, maybe, and echinami, but here according to Rashi at least, this is, although it's a lot of tircha, it's not called extra tircha. The rule by Behemis is quite easy. As we saw before, we'll see later, you're allowed to be torech for your animal, for your own animal, just for the minimum needs. For the minimal needs. Beyond that, you're not supposed to be torech for the animal stam to pamper it. So this is considered as basic needs, and you're allowed to do it for the baby animal.
Tircha means just anything that you're doing something you don't need to do.
Exactly. Tircha means extra work. What's extra work? Whatever you don't need to do. On Shabbos, you're not supposed to work. Shabbos and Yom Tov. Amar B'Shimon Gamliel. Merachamin heinu al behemoth Torah b'Yom Tov. Which means, if there's a behemoth Torah or they gave birth, we would be merachem. Merachem doesn't mean we had mercy on the behemoth. We caused the baby mother, the baby mother just gave birth, to have rachamim over the baby, the newborn baby. Heichi Avid, what exactly is it? What did he do exactly? Amar Abaye, maybe bul shel melach. You take like a block of salt, take like a whole, basically blob of salt. Umeniach la betoch harechem. You put it inside the animal's womb, which hurts the animal. But why do we do that? She should remember the tsar haleda. She should remember the pain of the birth and then have rachamim on the baby. Should remind her, oh, I gave birth. Ouch! It hurts over there, the same place where I gave birth, and that would have to cause the animal to have rachmanus on the baby. Says Rashi, imri chaktoi. If the animal already doesn't like sometimes I guess the animals they don't like the babies after birth, they don't connect with them, they don't bond with them. You want to create the bondage. I don't know why. She remembers the pain of the birth, so then dafka she has rachmanis of the baby. Umezalfin, another form of bonding the mother and the child. They go together to Disney World. I'm joking. Umezalfin mei shilia al gabe vlad. Also, you're allowed to sprinkle mei shilia, the water of the placenta of the mother, over the body of the newborn baby, the animal baby. כדי שתריח ריחו ותרחם עליו, she should smell the smell of the placenta, which she recognizes, I guess, which is connected to her, and then she'll have rachmanus on the baby. Continues the memra, v'davka tehoiro. That only works, that trick of if the animal distant him, she's like aloof from the baby, you want to create the kesher, that only works with a tehoira, with a kosher animal. Aval tmeya loy. If it's a tmeya, if the animal is not non-kosher animal, a horse. Yeah, you have a female horse, a mare that gave birth, a donkey that gave birth. No, those tricks of making her love the baby, they don't work. So don't do them because that's already extra tircha. It's not helpful. My time. Why doesn't it work by the tumadik animal, by the non-kosher animal? It's Dr. Gemore, tmeya loy merach kavlodo. A tmeya, the animal which is not kosher, naturally does not distance itself, does not push away, does not reject the child. But the merach kavlada lo mekarva. Oh, once she's merachik the baby, if she already distanced herself from the child, if she rejected the child, she doesn't accept him back. Now that she can be a very loving mother, but once he does the wrong thing, not for the count. I've heard that by the Amish, you know the Amish. So if by them, if somebody goes off the derech, so they're not mekabeling back. Even if he goes back on their derech, so that's it. One out, so it's not our derech. So they're behemoth to me, we're behemoth to her. בסדר, yeah. Weiter. כן, שמעת על האמיש? כן. מיאלדינס הבהמה. It's the cat בארצות הברית, whatever, they lived like 200 years ago. Whatever, later. מיאלדינס האישה. מיאלדינס האישה. Oh, let's finish with the animals and start talking about human beings. Frek de Gmore. Michdi tana le miyaldinus ha'isha. We already learned in the Mishnah at the beginning, you miyalidis ha'isha, you deliver the baby, the mother, you help the mother give birth, a human being, a woman. The kohen lachachomim mokom l'mokom, and you call the midwife to come from a faraway place. Well, back then it wasn't Chilul Shabbos Deoraisa, there were no cars. But what is it? Humin. So now the third thing, Mechal Shabbos, what does that come to include? Let me tell you what the Ritva says over here. The Ritva says something very interesting. We see that the Heter Meyaldin Isha includes a Deoraisa, Makebepatish, Goizes, because if you go like Rashi, the Meyaldin means only the Rabbanon, then of course there's more to say. The Gemara is asking, you already told me everything, so why do you also need to tell me Mechal Shabbos? Yeah, but if up until now we only spoke about the Rabbanon, Tircha and Tchumin, no, so now comes the Nuchidush, the Oraisa. But if you want to say, look, the Ritva, that the first statement already was the Oraisa, now the question makes a lot of sense. You ready to? That's what the Ritva says. Frag the Gemara, no, so what is it coming to tell me? And says the Gemara, La Tu Yehod Ton Rabbanon, it comes to include the following case Ton Rabbanon. Im Hoisa Tzricha Lener. Let's say the Yoledis needs a candle. Yeah, in other words, she needs light. Then her friend may light the candle for her. She's like a chodesh b'sakona. Obviously, the answer is not sufficient, right? Because if we know already you're allowed to do Chilul Shabbos Deoraisa of goizes or makeh bepatish of giving birth, what did you add by just another example of lighting the candle? The Gemara will deal with that soon. I promise that will be dealt with soon. But let's first finish the Braisa. Let's say the Yoledis needs oil. She needs oil for medicinal reasons, for medical reasons. She needs oil, and she doesn't have oil in wherever she is in a hospital. Which means her friend can bring her oil in her hand. What does it mean in the hand? Not in the kli. Although you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos for Yoledis, but don't bring the oil in the kli, but bring it in your hand. Holding oil in your hand is shinui, and it's not called chilul Shabbos, yeah, because it's a shinui. It's only also the rabbanon. V'im esopik beyad. If it's not enough or impossible to bring with the hand, mevia besayro. She has to bring it in her hair. She wets her hair with oil. She basically fills her hair with oil, and then when she comes to the yoledis, she squeezes out the oil from her hair, and then that's a very meshunidik way of bringing the oil through Rishus Harabim. She's doing a tzom shus, but with shinui. I'll explain soon. The imenu topek v'sara meviyolo bekli. Oh, if she can't or it's not enough to bring it with a hand or with a hair, then if there's no other choice, then and only then she brings it with a kli. This Gemara Rabbi Isai is a very, very, very choshev Gemara in Hilches Pikuach Nefesh. Because what are we saying over here? Did you realize what we just said? We assume that the Yoledis is Pikuach Nefesh, yeah? Giving birth, you drive to hospital on Shabbos if you have to. And all of a sudden, we're being very cautious, very frumy. We're saying, no, don't bring her the oil in the regular way. Bring it with this shinui, that shinui, the hair, the squeezing. So you see that even though it's pikuach nefesh, you're still supposed to do it b'shinui. Says the Meiri, says the Ramban, excuse me, and the Ramban says Azoi. I'm reading from the Shulchan Aruch now. Shin Kaf Ches Yud Beis. Yeah, you want to hear? Shulchan Aruch? It's on the screen, yeah? כשמחלל אין שבס על חול שיש בו סכונו, says the מחבר, משתדל שלא לעשות על ידי אינם יהודים וקטנים ונשים. Don't do it to a goy, a cotton, a woman, אלא די ישראלים גדולים ובני דס. Do it דווקא do it by, adult, male, frum, people, bnei das, so people should know that pikuach nefesh, if you have to, it's l'chatchila. Zok the Ramo, this is machlokes still today between Sfardim and Ashkenazim, as far as I learned. Yesh omrim efshar lasos belo dichui ubelo ichru al yidei shinui or al yidei shinui v'chule v'chule. Says the Ramo, if doing it b'shinui will not make any difference for the choile, you can do it as quick. You can dial the phone with that finger as quick as with that finger, which is shinui. Use that finger as always this form of the Ashkenazim, especially by Leida, but not only by Leida, but every choila, even choila shesh b'sakona, you can do it quickly b'shinui, and the shinui is as fast as the non-shinui. Use shinui. Why? Because we see that's the case by Yoledis. That's what we say, and that's what the Ramban holds. Zog the Meiri, sit inside today again, says the Meiri, and I'm moving now to Shulchan Aruch Shin Lamed. Yoledis ki choila shesh b'sakona. Yoledis is chodesh b'sakona, ki chodesh b'sakona. It's like chodesh b'sakona. Know the differences. Machalelin aleh as Shabbos l'chol shetzricha. Whatever she needs, you do chilul Shabbos. V'koirin lachachom emokom emokom. Umiyadin ma'adlikin laner. Whatever as the Gemara will say later. Umikol mokom says Shulchan Aruch. Before in Shulchan Aruch did not say to do any shinui. Only the Ramah did. Here by Yoledes, kol mashiyachol l'shanus meshanin. And he brings our examples. What's the difference? Says the Mogen Avram, and I saw it in the Meiri too, and he also says the B'Shem the Meiri. He says, "Hocha shayni, ke'eva yoledis dover tiv'ihu ve'en achas melef meisa machmas leida," which means a yoledis is not like regular pikuach nefesh, because one of 1,000 dies out of childbirth. Yeah, it's not really as bad as somebody who's about to die, who was just in a horrible traffic accident or something like that. Yoledis is in sakana, but the sakana is not as great as other cholim. So regardless of whatever you believe in other cholim, like the Ramban says the Meiri, Yoledis is an ayazach. Yoledis is a different thing, and she's not as bad as others, and therefore even according to the Sfardim, to the Mechaber, Yoledis you do b'shinu, especially if she just has contractions every 15 minutes, or something like that, you'd rather do it b'shinu. As always, I'm not a Pesach halacha, but we just saw some halachas now, and it's all based on our Gemara. Mamish based on our Gemara. Now, frek the Gemara, back to square one. Shita, what did you gain, right? We're looking for another form of Chilul Shabbos, which we didn't see in the Mishnah. You like the candle. I know you like the candle. You maybe give me all 39 melachas. What's the Chiddush? Answers the Gemara, lo tzricha, there is a Chiddush. Besuma. That woman, the Yoledis Lo Leinu Chalila, she is blind. She's a blind woman. She doesn't see with or without the light, sadly so, the light does make a difference for her. So why should you turn on the light for a suma? Zog the Gemara, true, that's the question. Mal de tema, would you say keva deloy chazia osu? She doesn't see anyways. So why do you light the light for her, the candle or the electricity? Kamash malan, the chiddush is a suvi miyat v'daito. Her mind is at rest when she knows that the friend can look and her friend can help her. Savro, she thinks, "Yi'i kamidi chazi chaverta v'ovdali." When she knows that the friend can see something and do it for her, that really puts her mind at ease. Which means the friend, the midwife, the whoever needs to help her, husband sometimes, yeah, whoever needs to help the Yoledes can help her by having the light on, they should turn on the light. Even though for her it does make a difference, but Lamaisa, mentally, she knows that people are really taking care of her with the light on, and therefore she'll be happy that way. And mental health is very, very important for everybody, especially women at birth. Weiter. So what was the oil in the hair trick? What did we say? She can take it with her hand. The other form of shinui is she needs shemen, so the friend, should basically fill her hair with oil, should come through Rishus Harabim, carrying the oil literally inside the hair, come to the Yoledis' house, squeeze it out of her hair, and then the Yoledis will have very nice, very nice oil. Excuse me, this is schita. In other words, this should be a problem of melaben. I want to ask you a question. The Talmidim asked me 2 days ago, why aren't you allowed to squeeze things on Shabbos? Which Shabbos is it? What?
There's two possibilities.
Oh, very good. Talmidim Chachamim, melaben or dash. Dash, bepashtis, is only something that grew inside. Dash means squeezing juice from its natural source. The oil did not grow in her hair, I don't think so yet. So what is it? Melaben. It's similar to libun, to wringing water out of the laundry. So therefore, it's a problem of dash because she has the hair inside. Excuse me, she has the oil inside the hair. She's squeezing. Yeah, that's the horror problem of schita of dash. Why? So what are you gaining over here? You're trying to be so smart and avoid what? The hoitzomir shus lo shus shkoich from the pot to the frying pan. Now you have another problem of schita. What do you marviach? Dr. Gemore, Rabbi Rav Yosef Damit Rabayu, Ein Schita B'Se'ar. Comes to hair, there's no squeezing in the hair. Rashi says, why? Because it's too hard, which means, yeah, the point is, what's the Lashon of Rashi? Kosher ve'ein bolea. Hair doesn't really absorb. The hair does not absorb. Hair is, the whatever's on top of the hair doesn't really go inside the hair, and therefore it's not called schita. Now that's therefore what? So it's allowed in such a case. Now, Ein Schita B'Se'ar, I just want to point out, the Rambam Paskins ain't schita b'se'ar, and yet it's also medarabanan. So even if a Paskin ain't schita b'se'ar, it's also medarabanan. Here they allow medarabanan. Shkoich. It's Yoledis. Yeah. Now Rav Ashi Omar. Rav Ashi says no. Afilu tema yesh schita b'se'ar. Even if you want to tell me that schita does apply to hair, and soon I'll explain why. Still, how do you explain this braysa? You have to explain the braysa a little bit differently. Meviala bekli derech saro. The kamed efshar l'shnui meshenina, which means when we said that she puts it in her hair, how did we understand it? She literally, fills in her hair with the oil, then squeeze it. But if you want to tell me that yesh schita b'se'ar, apparently there's such an opinion, how would that help? You know what it means? No, you got it wrong. She has like long hair. She has a hair that she can braid. She puts the kli in the hair. She takes the kli of oil and locates it in her hair, inside the braid, under the tichel, I guess, if she's married. Yeah, and that's okay. Why is it okay? As Kamadev Shalishnu Mishaninan, the crazier you do it, the more shino, the better on Shabbos. So why would one say that yesh schita b'se'ar? Because as far as I remember from learning this in Koilel, I didn't see it tonight. The Maisa, it's true that ain't schita b'se'ar because each hair does not absorb the oil or the shampoo or whatever there is. But between the hairs, it's absorbed. That's a chkila and schita. You look at each hair separately, no hair really absorbed, as opposed to wool. or cotton to absorb, the hair doesn't absorb. But between each and every hair, there are many hairs on the head, not mine, but other people, yeah. Then what? That in general, there is chita. That's a shaila. How do you look at it? Do you look at each hair by itself, or do you look at the whole ganze? Same question by Scott, right? By the cleaning the no, by the sponge for the cleaning. That whatever. That's another. We're not going there now. Omar. Oh, now we're getting to the business. Omar vidu Shmuel. Chaya. Chaya is the Yoledes. Oh, wow. Hashem loves us. Where does it say that Chaya is the Yoledes in the Old Testament? This week's Parsha. Kichayo Sena. Right? That's what Shifa and Pua told Paroi. They told him the Jewish women, they're not waiting for us. They're like animals. But it's a double ocean. It's a pun. They're like Chayos and the Chayos. They're Yoldos. They give birth. It's a Chaya. So now, Chaya, calls man shakever pasuach, as long as the womb is open, and the Gemara will explain what that means later. Bein amot tzrichani, bein lo amot tzrichani, mechalel in the Shabbos, which means there are many different versions here. I would, with your permission, stick to the Gemara's version, okay? The different version of the Rishonim. Our version says as follows: as long as she's in a situation of danger, she's still right after birth, whatever that means, we'll discuss later. But as long as the womb is still considered as open, then she's in such a high level, high risk. Whether she said, I need the Chilul Shabbos, I need the light on, I need right now to bring me that, I don't know, sushi, otherwise I'm going to die through Zarabim right away. So what do? We follow her command. Even if she did not say that she needs to, but her friends say that she does. She wants to be stronger and firmer. No, I don't need that Chilul Shabbos. But her friends who accompany her to, let's say, the hospital, they say that she does need. Her friend, the shviger, the sister-in-law, whoever is helping her, they say, no, we realize that she needs it. Mechal Shabbos, right? We don't take risks, Mechal Shabbos. Oh, very, very nice. Yeah, you always ask me the good questions. According to the other version, it says, Bein Omra Loi Tzricha. Then we also, according to our Gemara, it's not so clear. According to the other Girsa, it's not Loi Omo Tzricha. Even if she said, I don't need, yeah, still Mechal Nisa Shabbos. According to the Girsa that we have on the side. You can see it on the side. However, Nista Makever, at some point after birth, the kever is a womb. Kever is a tomb and a womb, where you're born and when you die. Nista Makever, Ben Omer Tzrichani, Ben Lo Omer Tzrichani, and Mechal Nesa Shabbos. Oh, so according to our Girsa, once the kever is closed, once a certain period of time passed, and we consider her as healthy, even though it could be only a few days later after birth, then even if she said, I need the chilul on Kol Shekin, if she didn't say that, then En Mechal Nesa Shabbos. That's it, all over. Even if she says, I need the chilul, we don't listen to her at that point. Rav Ashi Matmihachi. That girsa of Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel, that what we just saw now, is the girsa according to Rav Ashi. However, Mazutra Matnihachi. Mazutra learns it differently. Rav Zutra has a different version of the halacha. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel. Chaya, a yoledes, a woman at birth, calls shakever pasuach, as long as the womb is open, yeah, soon enough after birth, bein omo tzrichani, or bein omo ein tzrichani, mechal on Shabbos, so far so good, the same. Or Akiva, even if even if she says, here, omo ein tzrichani, you see? Here we have the girsa like before. She says, I don't need mechal on Shabbos. Nista mekever, if the kever is closed, omo tzrichani, mechal on Shabbos. Oh, you see? That's a huge difference. Once the kever is closed, yeah, we still give her the opportunity. We still listen to her when she says, I need the Chilul Shabbos. We'll listen to her and we'll break Shabbos for her. So basically, the first disagreement is less clear, but the second disagreement is very, very clear. What happens after the kever is closed, after the birth process is completely over, or at least whatever, she could be pretty soon after birth, but we define it as the kever is closed, and she says, I need the Chilul Shabbos. Do we listen to her or don't we listen to her? Rav Ashi says we don't. Mazuta says we do. Now, Omar Ravina Meimar Kuf Kaftes Amad Aleph. Yeah, you have it? Kuf Kaftes Amad Aleph, about how many lines from the top? 8, I think, lines from the top of the page. Omar Ravina al Mareimar. Ravina asked Mareimar. Ravina, yeah, the one who lived at the end of the time of the Gemara. Marzutra matni lekula. Marzutra is learning that Meimra in a more lenient way, that a Yoledes may ask and may be listened to even after Sitima Sakever. Ravashi matni lechumra. Ravashi says no. Ravashi says no. Even if she asks for it, we don't listen to her. Hilchas Keman, who's halacha like? Amarle halacha Malzutra. We listen to Malzutra, to the more lenient opinion. Why? Sofik nefoshes lehakel. Oh, as much as we said Yoledus is not the classical pikuach nefesh, Lemaise it is, maybe a little bit less. Lemaise it's Sofik nefoshes. You don't play with pikuach nefesh, and when you have a machloekes regarding pikuach nefesh, and it's a Sofik nefoshes, what's Sofik nefoshes? We don't know. Yes, the rechem is closed. That's what the machlokes is. The rechem is closed, but that's a good point, Akiva. The rechem is closed doesn't mean she's a year later. The rechem is closed, but it's still pretty soon after birth. She's still pretty, fresh after the trauma of the birth. So at that point, she's still the suffix nefashis. What's the suffix? I don't know what to listen to. Great Amiroin, Mazutra, yeah, Ravashi, you go Lekula. Because Pikuach Nefesh, we go Lekula. Oh, frag the Gemara now. Memosa psichas hakeva. From which point in the birth process do you already treat her as sakana, as the kever, the womb being open, and now she can be treated as choyla sheyesh b'sakana, and you do chilul Shabbos? Maybe lechatchila b'shinui, but if shinui doesn't work, Michal Shabbos deoraisa mamish. When does that start? Omar Abaye, we're going to see 3 opinions. Omar Abaye, from the moment that she sits on the mashber, the moment that she already sits on what today would be the bed where she gives birth. Yeah, the birth bed, the mashber, they used to have it differently, like they used to do it with stones. They would have a thing like 2 stones that she would put her 2 feet over there. Yeah, when she's set up for birth, at that point, she's considered as already being in sakana. Rav Huna Bred Rav Yeshua Amar, Mishosh Adam Shoises V'Yored, from when she starts bleeding. By the way, Machlokes Rishonim, I didn't go much into it, but I know here the Rach and others, there's Machlokes Rishonim, which one's first? Is Mashbel first, the lying down, or the blood first? Maybe it could be different cases, but what's considered normal? But the Ma'aseh Halacha, you'll see, it doesn't make a difference. The Amri law and others say from the minute she can't walk and her friends, says Rashi B'agapea, friends support her, her friends have to support her by holding her hands. At that point, it's considered to be the beginning of Psichas HaKever. Why am I not overly worried about what happens before what? Because I saw the Shulchan Aruch and he says any of the 3, whichever one came first. Misha ba, Baruch haba. Yeah. What? Exactly. Very good. Very good. Yeah, dear neighbor. Tafek nefashot. So whether she started off by bleeding, by the way, it's true also modern day. We know it's from Nida. So all these 3 things don't get it from Nida. Yes. Yeah, when you can't, whatever, she's considered Nida. If she saw the blood, okay, posture, that's easy. But they say even if she can't walk and the blood didn't come yet, but she has contractions, they're really hard for her to walk, she's called Nida already. I'm not, again, a poisek, but I remember learning it that way. Yeah. So in other words, so any of the 3, starting points of birth, any of those, she's considered as mesukenes, and you can do chilul Shabbos already for her at that point. Now, Omar Abaye, sorry. Ad Mosa Psichas HaKever, until when, until which point she's considered as Psichas HaKever. That's very interesting, right? Because we have the big machloikes, yeah, between Malzutra and Ravashi, right? What happens once the kever is closed? That's the $1 million question. So up until which point she's still called Psichas HaKever, where Lekula Alma, she can still be treated as Mesukenes and have Chilul Shabbos done for her. Omar Abaye Shloisha Yomim, Abaye says 3 days. Rove Omar Mishmei Rav Yehuda Shiva, 7 days. 7 days after birth, she's still called Mesukenes. The Amrila shloishim, and others say 30 days, right? The Simonach Gezel, 3, 7, or 30. Gimel Zayin or Lamed, so Machloikis, up until which point she's considered as Mesukenes. Rabbi said we all know what's the other nafkamina besides Chil Shabbos. What else is there nafkamina? The lady who's lucky enough to give birth in a Semeter Shuva or an Elul the baby. Elul. Before Yom Kippur. Hey, that's my whole point. In other words, can a woman, let's say, that gave birth 6 days ago, can she eat on Yom Kippur? I don't know. Here's a question. Is she called Mesukenes? She gave birth 20 days ago, Machloikis, right? She's between 7 and 30. We're not there yet in the halacha part, but that's a shaila. Can you dichelu Shabbos for, or let's say, I want to tell you one thing, I'm not a poisik, but I know that if your wife happens to give birth anywhere outside, I'm saying, ask your rabbi. I'm always scared to say halacha, but I'm saying your wife happens to give birth outside the Haredi ghetto cocoon, not one of the Mahadran hospitals, and she's after birth, and they're serving a non-Mahadran meal. So I've heard before she can be mekel. She's hungry. She's mesukenes. She can eat on Yom Kippur. She can also eat rabbanut, right? Saying we prefer not. She better bring her own food before. I'm saying, but Vada, the woman after birth needs to eat, so don't start asking for the extra. I mean, ask your Rav, but this is pashtus halacha. Even in Kippur. So Kol Shekin, I'm saying people get so used to Boch Shem. It's a very holy generation. You don't touch food that's not Mahadrin. But hey, mister, you see the husband running around, but your wife is Mesukenes, she can eat Yom Kippur, so she clearly she can eat Rabbanut Yerushalayim cake. I'm saying, I'm not, let's just get into proportion over here, perspective. They're not used to.
Even if they're listening.
Yeah. Sadly so. Yeah. They mean well. Amri Nardoi, we're only going to start reading this, and we're in the first wide line. Amri Nardoi, the Nardoi. I just want to prepare you that we are not having shir tomorrow. Yeah, sorry about that. Tomorrow no shir. Thursday, yes. Motzei Shabbos, yes. Okay. Tomorrow, no. I apologize, but it's a one-off commitment. Amri Nardoi, the Nardoi, the Bnei Yeshiva of Nardo said the following: Chaya. Gimel Zayin Velamed, right? Chaya, Yoledes, has three basically marks along the way, three milestones in the afterbirth process. Gimel, Zayin, Velamed, 3, 7, and 30. Gimel, if it's the up until 3 days from the birth, Bein Omo Tzrichani, Ubein Omo Loi Tzrichani. Again, the different gilsois. This girsa is stark. She said, I don't need that Chilul Shabbos. Leave me alone. No Chilul Shabbos for me. Mechalon Shabbos. If other people say she needs, let's say the other friends say she needs it, Mechalon Shabbos. Zayin, between 3 and 7, Amot Tzrichani Mechalon Shabbos. If she said, I need the Chilul Shabbos, we'll listen to her. She said, if she says, I don't need the Chilul, we'll listen to her, even if her friends think otherwise. And then Lamed, meaning between 7 and 30, Afilu Amot Tzrichani and Mechalon Shabbos. No, so what's the Chiddush? Once after 7 days, we don't listen to her, we don't do Chilul Shabbos, even if she said I need to. So what's the status here? Oh, you like to do it through a goy. Very good. He says that any needs of the choile can be done through a goy on Shabbos. We will hopefully on Thursday elaborate on that more. Yeah. Wow, get that? In other words, for a choile, even if davar she'ein b'sakona, you tell the nochri and he does it. Davar she'esh b'sakona, you tell the yid. Yeah, davar she'ein b'sakona, you tell the goy. That will be explained Be'ezras Hashem on Thursday. Yeah, goyim can work for chol she'esh b'sakona, even she'ein b'sakona. Even the chol she'ein b'sakona, she's not sakona. She's past 7 days, right? She's between 7 days and 30 days. She's a lower level of sakona. She's not sakona. She's nafal mishkav. Nafal mishkav can have goy doing things for him in certain circumstances. That will be discussed later. Okay, we're just preparing you for the next time. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for coming here. And thank you for the beautiful Shul Mamloez. All those of you who listen to us, who watch us, who download us, who like us or don't like us. Thank you very much. It's locho brocho for your nice comments on YouTube. V'chule v'chule. Thank you all. We'll be zoiche to Shmir Shabbos and be zoiche to the real Shabbos, Shabbos of Mashiach, Mein Olam Abba. Thank you. It's locho brocho. Thank you.